Yeah. Hey, good morning. I'm excited to be here. It's 5 a.m., right? That's right. We bring the joy every morning, Jason Bach and myself. That's good. So, that's right. Shout out. It's nice to continue this topic as we were talking last week, right? Ways to overcome injuries. That theme of injuries will happen, but wounds don't have to occur afterwards, right? There's things you can do. And this week we have that chance to talk a lot about responses to injury. Again, no matter where they are or what they whether like precipitant is for the injury, there's certain responses that will come that we have to be cognizant of. So writing on Monday, kind of those physiological responses that exist, that whenever there's an injury, whether mild, moderate, or severe, there's kind of this idea of some pain that comes with that right away, even physically, or some shock that happens because you just can't believe this occurred. It's interrupted the momentum of your life, and like, what is going on? Also, the emotional part of it. There's going to be some sense of sadness and loss that exists with an injury. Again, it's going to be probably proportional to the type of injury you experienced, but recognizing that there will be some emotional impact right away. And then also recognizing there's a mental component too. Most people, when they have an injury, there's this thought like, man, I should have been able to avoid that, right? So there's some self-doubts that exist, maybe some condemnation that comes in right afterwards. So trying to talk this week about just expect these components of adversity, right? The outcomes that exist, the setbacks that happen, the things you're going to encounter. Because the more you understand that, the better your response is. And when your response is more timely or more reactive in a positive way, the sooner you can get through the outcome, the adversity of that injury. One of the other aspects that really help with overcoming injury and your response to it is highlighted in some of the homework assignments. It's like, hey, pay attention to your own wisdom. Everybody's been through an injury before of some sort, and that informs you. Oftentimes in the counseling office, it's not trying to create something that's brand new. It's encouraging people to go back and look at previous experiences they've had. What wisdom have you already learned through the different periods of your life? Because maybe that gives you a template to follow with this present injury. So asking people to go back and reflect and know some things yourself about what you've learned already. To help with that, there's some other things to talk about this morning. One of the websites I came across was just trying to think about how an injury is a crisis, right? It's unexpected. It's something that happens. So, depending on the injury, it's going to be a mild, moderate, or severe crisis. So, this was from some points from the CDC of the psychology of a crisis, but I think it helps kind of illustrate the idea of how your responses matter. So they write these kind of four main points, and I added one more. They said after a crisis occurs, in order to help the response be better, here are some points to make. One, keep messages simple and communicate often, which I think is very clear. When you have an injury, it's like, what is the way to succinctly describe what has happened and be able to communicate often with the people in your support network? Because knowing that if you, we'll cover this with a question, to know yourself, when you have something happen to you, are you talkative about it or are you quiet about it? It illustrates just that issue of being intentional. Second, they want to make sure you're connected with a trusted source of feedback, right? Feedback or support, perhaps. Are you able to reach out and grab someone and have some help to help you through the consequences, the adversity of that injury? Then they say create a plan that's consistent with what you know you need to do. A plan is going to be a key part of that we'll finish our time with this morning. And then stick with that plan and maintain support. Many times that response to injury is going to be aided by the number of people that are part of that kind of support team or that care team as it goes forward. And finally, one that I offer is just this reminder in crisis to offer yourself some grace and understand you need some tangible signs of progress in the right timeline. Don't try and rush a recovery of an injury because that extra pressure and stress is going to have some complicated effects. Thinking of a couple of questions this morning just to see, to help you think about yourself, like what's your response to injury? First question, what tends to be your reaction to an injury? Here are some contrasts. Are you quiet or are you loud about an injury, right? Do you go quiet or do you ask for help? Do you like to deal with injuries by yourself, solitary manners, or do you like teamwork? Are you asking for help right away? Are you kind of deep water when it comes to injury? Nothing really phases you, you'll get through it? Or are you a roller coaster and everybody knows it? So, some contrast when you think through that. When you have an injury, what tends to be your response? Where do you fall on those spectrums? What would you say? You go inward and deal with it yourself, ask for help. Are you quiet about it? Are you communicative about it? Where do you guys fall when you have an injury of some sort and face some adversity?
It's easier to ask for help when you already have someone in your support system that is that type of help.
Yeah.
Be it, trusted physical therapist
Mm-hmm.
or trusted, therapist
Mm-hmm.
or any other
Mm-hmm.
life events, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
If you have somebody you can go to, it's easier to be like, I'm just gonna get some help with this.
Right. That's a good point. Are you already connected? Do you already have some ability to reach out, whether professionally or community based? That's why we know community is important, so that getting through the good times is better and getting through the hard times is easier. But that's an excellent point. Might dictate if you have to go it alone, you may not want to go it alone. Other thoughts?
There's the young version of me hit it and thought I could do it on my own, and I didn't really want to know what the older
Mm.
version of me just realized that life is easier.
Mm.
If I had advice to my younger self, I'd use the teamwork and ask questions and ask for help.
Yeah, that's a good point. Life stage often dictates some of that wisdom and maturity. That's why it's like go back and look and see what really helps. That's a great answer to it. A lot of people have that idea of I need to do it myself. I can do it myself, and maybe they're successful half the time, but teamwork really does go better. It's easier carry a big load with multiple people than yourself. Thanks for those answers. Maybe the follow up. This is kind of related to that. Is there a person that comes to mind when you have to develop a plan to kind of get through an injury? When you face some adversity, do you have a name of a person that comes to mind that really does help you through it? Or the best person, if you can think of a role that's going to help you get through the adversity of an injury? Um, think about all the life experience in this room. There's probably somebody that stands out that you were grateful for that helped you through a really difficult time. Anybody care to mention who that person was and why?
Sir William.
Sir William Kepke, yeah? That's right. Shout out. Always the good Jim answer to do it that way. Even as you think about that through the course of your day and the course of the week, is there might be somebody that does come to mind, really have that sense of appreciation for them, maybe acknowledge them in that kind of way to go back. Maybe think about how you have stepped into that role for somebody else. And if you haven't, it's probably just a matter of time. If you're thinking about it and you're desiring to do it, if you pay attention, there'll be somebody that suffers an injury around you that you might be able to step in and help them out with. It's definitely a key part of what makes community better. So, some final comments about these things, some words to pay attention to. As I hinted at earlier, recognizing that when it comes to our passion for life, right, adversity and injury takes away that momentum, kind of sucks the oxygen out of the room, as that phrase goes. And it's like, how do you embrace that? So, it's something to expect. Don't think it's just unique to you, that when an injury happens, it's like hitting a giant pause button. And it's in that shock, that loss, that pain, that sadness, that's that moment that you're experiencing. So you have to be able to figure out what to do next. So the suggestion is simply have an effective plan that you come up with, right? This is where it's an honest plan about reasonable timelines. It's connected with people that help keep you grounded, and it's realistic based on the injury you have. If it's a physical injury, there's probably a known timeline how to recover from that physiologically with PT, surgery, whatever else it might be. If it's something more emotional or relational, it gets a little bit more complicated to know that timeline, but it still has to be a grounded plan, realistic in what's going to happen. And finally, because injury has all of these effects, right, you just have to remember those basics to conserve energy. Where do we get energy from? Eating right, sleeping right, right? Having some physical activity and communicating with people around you. That's where that initial response is important to recognize. If you have an injury and you go inward and you get quiet and you withdraw, you've moved yourself further away from the opportunity to get through that adversity a little bit faster and a little bit easier. And like last week when we said all injuries are going to happen, we're just going to encounter them, but they don't have to become wounds, meaning something that wasn't addressed and it's getting worse. By going into yourself, being quiet and withdrawing, it increases the chances that an injury becomes something that lingers longer than it should. So a good week to really echo some of the stuff last week, that we're going to encounter injury. This week, it's highlighting that these are some normal, expected responses to injury. It's not unique to each person. It's part of the human experience. And when you know what's coming, whether it's a physical sense of loss or some shock that you go through, or some thoughts like, I can't believe I did this to myself, embrace those things, be able to push through it, and that adversity becomes something that can be conquered as well. So a good week to talk about it. We've got 2 weeks left to keep talking through some different aspects of adversity. It'd be good to go through that. But think, what are your successes of injury? What's the wisdom you have? And be thinking of those people who've helped you through something in the past, and really acknowledge them for it, because you probably realize just how unique and special that person was and how helpful that person was to help you get through something. So let them know. All right, thank you very much.